Hi everyone. We'll just wait for a few more people to join and then we'll get started. Hi guys. As you can tell by my face, I'm super excited but nervous about today's live. But I'm very excited, so. Carly, just quickly while you're there, does the guest know exactly how he's due to join the live, or? Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to get started just because otherwise the beginning of this video is always just me dossing about on my laptop, and I'm just super excited to get started. So welcome guys, happy Thursday, and again thank you so much for tuning in and joining our talks with peer-to-peer. We are forever grateful for all of our viewers, for all of our guests that join as well. We are super grateful, and we just love what we're doing here. So today, as you can tell, I'm a bit excited and nervous. So today is a super exciting live. We have got an amazing guest coming on, and he's just basically going to come on and speak about anti-racism. So that's what today's live is about. It's about anti-racism. And we're going to kind of be discussing some sensitive subjects. I want to put forward a disclaimer just so people are aware of the kind of conversations that we're going to be having. We're not going to get into too much detail or make it too graphic, but we are going to be speaking about a subject that some people could potentially find controversial, or they might not agree with some of our views, but we just want to let people know that this is what we're speaking about. So as always, I'm going to start with my statistics. So in the year 2019 to 20, the police recorded 76,070 racist incidents in England and Wales. Please just let that sink in. When I read these statistics, I couldn't believe it. 76,070 cases of racist incidents that have happened in England and Wales. Okay, so the next one that I've got is racial violence is largely underreported to the police. According to the Home Office statistics, from 2012 to 2015, there has been on average 106,000 racially motivated hate crimes per year. These statistics have just made me, they've literally turned my brain into mush, because I just can't fathom it. I just can't take it into consideration. I can't comprehend it. All of these things, I really struggle to understand it. Me being a person who is very passionate about anti-racism, I don't understand people's mindset when it comes to racism, or why you're going to be judging someone or treating someone in a certain type of way based on the colour of their skin. I just struggle to understand it. Now, the final one I've got is in relation to schools. The data shows that black children are 3.5 times more likely to be excluded than any other children in primary, secondary and special educational needs schools. So that is, black students are more likely to be excluded than any other race. Okay, now I wanted to keep it a bit of a secret, but I'm just going to let you guys know, because we are going to have him join in today. But our amazing guest that we're going to have on today is Stuart Lawrence. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, he is Stephen Lawrence's little brother. And he's going to be coming on today. We are super, super excited to have him on. And he's just going to come on and have a chat with us, as we always do. He has actually requested to join, so I'm going to accept the request. Have him join, because I'm super, super excited to have him on. I know I've said it so many times, but I'm so excited. I'm so, so excited. Right. Hello, Stuart.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
Oh, I'm amazing. I'm fabulous. I'm so grateful. I'm glad that you're on with us today, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. Everyone in the comments, please feel free to say your hellos and all the rest of it.
Let me say hello to everyone as well.
Yes. How are you, Stuart?
Do you know what I was just saying? I've had a bit of a weird day today because
Okay.
as I say to the young people all the time, not every day's a good day, but you've just got to
No.
find a way to get through it. So
Yeah.
I've cut the grass today, so
Yes.
that's put me in a better mood. It has, and I just want to do a talk with my son's school as well. So hopefully I haven't embarrassed him too much, and yeah.
Listen, at the end of the day, I've got a son as well who's 10, and we'll always find a way to embarrass them in their eyes. So don't even worry about that. But I just want to say thank you so much for joining. We are extremely grateful and blessed to have you on. And we just want to kind of pick your brain a little bit. That's what I want to do. That's my plan, is to kind of pick your brain and find out exactly what you're doing. So if I hand over the mic to you, I know that you've had an amazing book come out. We've actually had a couple of our team read the book already. I haven't got round to reading it yet, but
I shall send you a copy, young lady, don't you worry.
Yes, please. I'll be most grateful. When I told my other half that you were coming on, he was like, oh my God, he's just had the book come out. Oh my God, this is amazing. He was so excited. I was like, oh my God, so am I. This is such a big deal. But yeah, no, it's absolutely amazing. So let's touch on that first of all.
Yep.
Let's talk about your amazing achievement, your book.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what it's about, and I just want to hear everything about it. Don't tell me what it's about though, because I do want to read it myself, but just give me like an outline.
Okay, so basically it was a book that I wrote for my son. That's what it was for. It was a book that I wanted for my son to be able to read and to have this knowledge and information about how he could be the best version of himself.
Yeah.
You know, I've spent a lot of time being a school teacher and helping other young people to try and be the best they can be. And some of those things I told them along the way, some of the things my parents told me along the way, and other people told me along the way. It's just an accomplishment of all of those things to try and, like I said, when you're having like a day like I've just had where you don't see the point of it, or it doesn't just seem to be working out the way you want it to, there's hopefully something in the book that can just, you know, put you back on the path, as we say, and just right the car back in the right lane.
Yeah, it's all about, I feel like, I mean, we all have those days, as you've described. We all have those days, and I had a day like that yesterday where I was just like, I just want to crawl into bed and I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to wrap myself in the blankets and I want to put trash TV on and I want to eat rubbish and I just don't want to talk to anyone. But as a parent, it's extremely difficult to do that sometimes. So you're like, okay, 100%. So I've got to stay strong for my son. And I've got to just remind him that he's got to carry on with life as if it's normal, because he doesn't have down days. He doesn't experience those things yet. And the stresses of life as an adult, he doesn't know anything about it. So I think that's amazing. So with your book, if you want to just tell us like where it's kind of, where people can access it. And
it's online. I'd love it if people would support an independent bookshop and go and get it though. That's my thing. It is on the big sort of like ones that you can go out there and get, but for me it's about the independent bookshop. So go to your independent bookshop, ask them. They should have a copy. If not, they can get you a copy. So that'd be great. And as I said, for me also, just to say to parents as well, it's to help you all to have those conversations and reinforce those things that we know that all need to be reinforced. But you know, when it comes from us, our parents, from yourself as a parent, it doesn't always land. So I wanted to be able to back up parents and say, look, you know, you can refer to the book and say, oh, Stuart said it. Stuart makes his own son do this. I said to him in front of all of his classmates about, you know, so one of the key things I said to them, I set them a challenge about half an hour before you go to bed, half an hour, no screen time. Write, read, draw, do something else, just half an hour before you go to bed. Let your brain start to wind down, shut down, and get ready for that, you know, that beautiful sleep that you need to have to be the best version of yourself the next day. So that's something I challenged him with today.
The book is like child friendly or suitable.
Yeah, definitely. So it's for 10 plus. I didn't. It's not.
Oh,
Everyone thinks the book's about like my autobiography, the stuff I've been through. It has a little bit of that in there, but it's not the essence of it. I just said it's for 10 plus. I wanted to motivate and to inspire the next generation somehow. So that's what it's for. The next book.
My son he's
yeah.
10. So that whole kind of wind down time that you're talking about, and lesser screen time and more reading and more kind of creative activities, I'm more than happy to kind of shove something at him and say, do you know what? That's enough of your Switch. That's enough of your PlayStation. That's enough of Fortnite. Here's a book.
100%.
Read the book and just fuel your mind. That's what you need to do. So I'd be more than happy to definitely be interested. I mean, I want to read it myself as well, but kids as well, I'm definitely interested. So like I mentioned earlier, today's live is going to be talking about anti-racism, and I just want to initially put out there, I did mention it before, but just kind of a disclaimer to an extent, just so people understand that what we do as an organisation and as a company is we try to create a platform to enable people to feel comfortable to come on and express their views, as long as they're not kind of like, I don't know, like extremist views or narcissistic views or anything like that. As long as there's along the kind of lines as what most people are thinking and people can relate to them, we're more than happy to have people come on. So I don't know if this is something that you might potentially be comfortable about. I know a lot of the viewers kind of want me to be the person to throw it out there and ask you if you would be comfortable to speak about it, but we would like to touch on your brother today.
Sure.
Just because in my personal opinion, it's one of the most traumatic and horrendous things to happen within the Black community, in my own opinion. And I wasn't even born when it happened, but my mum was extremely passionate about justice for Stephen. And it was something that she kind of instilled in us growing up and spoke to us about it. And to be honest with you, it traumatized me a little bit. Until this day, I still struggle to comprehend it. I still struggle to understand it, why it had to happen. But I'd love to just hear your side of it, and family's done to cope, and how you were feeling at the time. How old were you when it happened? And it just, I know it's a sensitive subject, and if
you're fine.
You're feel uncomfortable talking about it, we completely understand. But I think it's just amazing having you on here, and we'd love to talk about it. So if you wanted to kind of take the lead and
sure. So I was 16.
Brother, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I was 16 at the time, and I think the reason why people are so traumatized by it, because it's just it was an absolute senseless act.
Yeah,
I say to people all the time, it was a complete and utter random attack.
Yeah,
it was a senseless act. He never knew them.
No.
They never knew who he was. And it could have been anyone. I say to people all the time, I walked up and down Wellhall High Road a lot as a child, from the age of about 13 right up to the age of 16. One of my best friends lived around the corner from there. So Friday nights, Saturday nights as a young person, Tiddy Boppy raves, I used to go there on a Friday night. So it was really, really weird, of an area where I was quite familiar with and quite apparent of I was going to go there quite a lot, that this would happen. And it was massively traumatic, because again, I just didn't think those sort of things happen. That was like someone doing that because of the colour of his skin. Like, why would that happen? Because
this is what I said at the beginning of live. Sorry to cut you. I want you to.
Sorry.
Sorry, but that is the prime thing that I struggle with, is that I don't look at people. I know there's this whole thing of like, oh, if you don't see colour, that means that you're racist. And I get that side of it as well. But what I struggle with is that, I'm going to go and kill a man or attack a man because he's black, or because he's Asian, or because he's Mexican, or, but I mean, because he's a different race to what I am, I'm going to go and kill a man. That's what I struggle with. I really, really, really struggle with that. With anyone. Anyone.
But this is what I say to my wife. The reason why you're struggling is because you're not that type of person.
No.
So you shouldn't allow yourself to feel like, oh my God, I can't, because you're not that type of person. So therefore, you will never understand,
No.
because
No.
you was brought up differently. You have different
Yeah.
set of values. You have a different set of principles. Whereas the people that have done this didn't.
No.
You know, their belief and system was, because of that, because he looked like that, then that he should be treated a certain way. This act can happen to him because that's what we do, sort of thing. That was the mindset around it. So I definitely say to people, don't struggle with it. Just know that there's a few people out there. You know, I want to believe there's not a majority. There's just a few people out there that believe, due to someone's looking different, someone's sexual orientation is different, someone's got a disability, something different about someone else, that means that I somehow am now superior. They're a lower class, and I should be able to treat and act them as. And again, we struggle because we're not of that mindset. We believe that people are people and human beings. Doesn't matter if you're a man or woman or child, you're a human being, and I should value that as you're a human being and value life. That's also what's quite apparent, and that's what, in my opinion, they don't do. They didn't do.
No.
They didn't value their life or no one else's life. So as I said,
I just look at it like, I don't know what gives people a certain amount of obligation or right, or just what is going through your mind. Do you know what I mean? What are you thinking at that time to think that I'm going to go and attack this boy who is walking home, minding his own damn business, and you just thought, let's take it upon ourselves to go and kill this man?
That again, like,
do you find that you ask yourself those kind of questions, and over the years, what has your kind of thought process been? What have you responded to people's questions when people have kind of tried to speak? How long did you wait before you were comfortable speaking about it? I just want to know everything. I know it's so
no,
I've got you here. I'm just like, oh my God, give me everything.
No. So it took, I definitely say, to talk about it, it's taken, I'd say, until I was about sort of 25, 30, probably, quite later on. I had quite a big coping mechanism of not wanting people to know who I am or who my family is or what had happened, so that I can just, be normal, so to speak. I did that for quite a long time. So I would always make a point of not telling no one who my family was. It happened to be quite recently, or where I've moved to now. I've been living here 6 years, and one of the gentlemen that just sits around the corner, he's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know. Like, I saw you on TV the other day, I didn't know." I was like, "Well, Wayne, how's the conversation going to go, Wayne? Like, oh, by the way, Wayne, my name's Stuart. And oh yeah, in 1993, it's just, it doesn't happen like that. That's not this." So I say to people all the time, get to know me first, who I am, Stuart, and that side of me. And then as we get to know each other, the layers of who we are as people, you then get to know, don't you? And so that's that. But again, I wanted to try. So it mainly started at school, I suppose, when I was a school teacher. And again, I wasn't doing nothing major publicly wise. Every now and again, I would do a few bits and pieces, and then sort of people would then know who my mum was, and I'd have a picture of my mum in my office, or I think I had a picture of my mum in my classroom somewhere, and people would then sort of get to know there and ask questions and things. But so as I said, it's over time that I've got more comfortable talking about it. But my standpoint now is, if I can talk about it and I can share it with other people, my insight and how it made me feel, and how it affected me as a person, that might enable someone to think differently or to act differently in their own situation.
With how young you were when this occurred, it's a huge kind of thing to happen in a young person's life. You were 16. I just feel like if you can potentially help other young people that are going through traumatizing experiences like that, you're doing your brother justice. Now, there's only nothing. It sounds horrible for me to say, but nothing's going to bring him back, and it's
100%. No.
But I genuinely believe that if we can continue on to help young people who might be in a particular situation or might have even experienced racial abuse themselves. I don't know if you had joined in from the beginning of the live, but my statistics that I mentioned, shocking as well. They're absolutely shocking. The one that stood out to me was the fact that Black children are 3.5 times more likely to be excluded from a place of education than any other race. Mm-hmm. What is that telling us? What is that telling us? That there is some sort of issue.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people don't like to kind of bring up the whole idea of institutionalized racism. It's a real thing. It is a real thing. It happens.
Yeah. I think, the school situation, I don't know if you saw the programme recently on, I think it was on the BBC, where they were talking about the way that education, subnormal, the phrase called subnormal,
right?
How they used to call kids from the Caribbean subnormal, and they would send them to a special school where with autistic and children with other challenges, because they couldn't access the education system, and this was because they found out because the test that they gave them was skewed, and one of the classic lines from that program I remember was the word pipe. So a pipe, that you turn the tap on.
Yeah.
And so there was a picture of it, and it was like, what is this pipe? And the kids were going, no, it's not a pipe. That's a tap. I know that's a tap. And it's just that small differentiation, because they didn't know it as a pipe, they knew it was a tap. They were somehow not able to tick that box to say they knew what it was. So therefore, their results were skewed.
Yeah.
And I think a little bit for me as well, it's the difference of how I worked in education for 15 years in one school, and then I've been in and out of schools since then as well. So about 20 years in total of education. And what I've found most shocking and alarming is that if a child doesn't conform to your rules or the way that you think it should be done, then you see that child as a problem.
Yeah.
And I always say to people that it's not, because for me, it's not for them to change. It's for me to find the best way to reach that child. And that's the way that I used to teach, which not everyone does. And again, that's where we come up with these issues and problems where, for instance, some kids cannot sit down for long amounts of time and be quiet. That's just not who they are. No. But in a classroom settings, that's what you're supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do. Now, in our previous lives, we've had so many conversations about that particular subject, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen, there's a picture that was circulating around Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, and you had like a monkey, a giraffe, a fish, and a lion or something like that. And the kind of examiners, as you will, said to all of them, all of you go and climb that tree. Of course, the monkey's going to succeed. It's built in their nature, in their chemical balances. It's built in them to be able to climb up a tree. A fish in a goldfish bowl is not going to be able to climb up a tree. A giraffe can from the top of the tree, but they can't climb up the tree, right?
Yeah.
So exactly the same with the educational system.
100%.
Every single child is not the same. They don't all have the same learning capabilities. They don't all have the same learning methods. I said it in the last one. You've got physical learning. You've got
audio, kinesthetic.
All of that, right? You've got all of those different learning methods and learning capabilities, but you're trying to tell me that every single one of those children has to do the same test paper. They have to adhere to the same kind of lessons and listening to what they're teaching. Do you know what I mean? It
100%.
doesn't make sense. Now, when we're talking, because today's live is about anti-racism, think about that, but then children being set back even further because of where they're from.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a recipe for disaster.
100%.
It's a recipe for disaster. There is no hope for these children. If they don't have an initial good start in life, it's going to traumatize them for the rest of their life and prevent them from being able to succeed to the level that they could have done if they had the right education in the beginning.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So my statistics that I put forward, like prior to COVID, us as an organisation, we actually used to go into schools and deliver life skill sessions and kind of communicate with young people on a different level. We just believe that young people, teaching young people works better than a 70-year-old woman who was there 70 years ago and has no idea about modern technology and modern information, 100%. Going into a classroom trying to deliver sessions on sex, right? It's never going to happen. It's never going to work. Right?
Definitely.
So we just believe that going into a school, and me being a young person, I'd get stuck in, I can relate to these kids, I can speak to them on a level. But there was a school, I'm not going to name the name, but it's a school in South London. And I think it was something ridiculous, like 90-something% of this school were on free school meals.
Wow.
Right? So this means predominantly, let's just say basically the whole school is on free school meals and comes from poverty. Yeah. And then on top of it, predominantly all of these kids were Black or Asian.
Yeah.
All of them. Right? So we're going into a school and I'm sitting there and I remember coming out and speaking to my sister about it and just being like, wow, it upset me. It upset me. I'm very sensitive when it comes to subjects like this. It does affect me, and I kind of go on to think about it for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, just because I'm like, what can I do? What can I do to try and help these kids? What can I do? Right? So I've come out of the school and I'm just like, I love these kids. I love them. They're so full of energy. They're so creative. They're so clever. They're so smart. But they're just being swept under the rug. Like, oh, because your parents haven't got money, or because you live on an estate in South London and your parents can't afford to pay for your school meals, that means that you're now the bottom of the barrel. You're now someone who's literally the lowest in the class. Do you know what I mean?
I
struggle to understand, because some of those kids are the most intelligent kids I've ever experienced, but they just don't have the right opportunities in life based on the colour of their skin. And I struggle with it. I struggle with it.
And that's why there's a saying in my book that says the same hot water that softens a potato can harden an egg. You know, it's the environment that our young people are brought up into, and no young person has a decision making in that start of their life where they start from, you know. And I try to say to them, it's like, wherever you start from, cool, but it doesn't mean to define where you have to finish. That's what it means, though. Like, yes, you may have to work a bit harder. Yes, it might not always go your way, but when you get to the end of your journey, wherever you want to go to, however hard you've had to work, then that's going to be such a major more accomplishment than for someone who has just been given it all and they still get to the same place. So there's something in that to think about. But I do agree with you. We've got to do better and find better ways of enabling all our young people to access the education system. Because again, social mobility, allowing someone to move out of their social setting is a great thing to have, but we need to put the scaffolding, enable the blocks to be able to build and enable themselves to step out of that. That's what we need to do. And again, education systems have a lot of things to answers there.
100%. And just kind of touching on where these young people come from, me and my partner have had conversations about so drill music, right? Okay, and there's a whole stigma around it, like, oh my god, they're promoting gangs and violence and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, they are, but they don't have any other option. They haven't been given any other opportunities in life. So let's just kind of go back to the beginning of it. You're in a school that's full of kids that are exactly like you. You all come from poverty. You all live on an estate. There's other kids on the estate that are a bit older than you, that are already in the vicious cycle of not being given any job opportunities, or not basically being influenced or encouraged to try and pursue something other than being involved in a gang or something like that. Now, when they're in school, it's like, right, okay, we have a school full of black kids who live in an area that has high poverty cases, so we're just going to leave them to it. We're just going to leave them to it, let them get on with it. And it's just a vicious cycle. You go to a school where you don't have the support. You come out of school, you don't have support in sixth form or college. You might think that you might do something with your life up there, but it's not going to happen. So you come out, and what do? You get involved in things that you shouldn't have been involved in, because you need money.
100%.
You need money. Your mum needs money. Your family needs money. Your dad needs money. Everyone needs money. So if you're not being given job opportunities, or someone's not hiring you based on the color of your skin or the way that you speak, what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
What else are you supposed to do?
100%.
So when it comes to drill music, it frustrates me when I see on the news, oh, this new brand of music, drill music, that's coming out, and it's encouraging gangs and drugs and knives, and do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Take a look at the beginning of the problem,
Yeah.
the root of the issues. Look at that, and then start talking to me about where the issues are.
Definitely.
Someone's just literally just said, no, you need to find a job. Now, it's very, very, very easy. Bearing in mind, I just want to reiterate that this live is a place where people can come and express their opinions. You can come and talk about whatever you want to talk about. That's fine. And it's amazing that we have people who come with the kind of opposing views and what they want to say. I completely agree with that. Now, when it comes to this kind of, need to speak better, you need to not be in a gang, can't blame everyone else. It's not a situation of blaming everyone else. Now, we understand that some kids are given opportunities in life where they choose to be involved in a gang. We understand that. But what we're basing this live on, and the conversations that we're having, is based on young people who aren't given those opportunities. When they come from areas and they live in areas where there is high poverty. Now, in areas, so say, for example, one of our family members, she lives in Birmingham, and all of her kids live in Birmingham. Birmingham is extremely like low with the amount of job opportunities that they have. Okay, if we live in London, where it's easy for us to say, oh, but we're in London, London. Some people don't have the financial luxuries of being able to come to London, move to London. With the housing prices and stuff like that, it's not easy for you to just pick up and move to London where there are job opportunities. Okay, so if people are in outer London areas, etc., they may not have the finances, or their family may not have the finances for them to be able to move themselves into areas where they can seek better opportunities. So that's what we're trying to say, is there needs to be more ways in our educational system for them to be able to show them how to do that. Give them the resources to say, right, okay, you can come out of school and go and do this, that, and the other, which means you'll be able to set yourself up. Do you know what
100%.
I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And then,
Yeah.
can I just say as well, that whole thing about the job thing as well is a key one, because where do you start? It's the chicken and egg situation here with jobs, isn't it? Because if you don't have no experience, then you can't get a job. Now, I remember myself, my first bit of experience. So, I said when I wanted to be a school teacher, that came from me being a youth club supervisor. That was one of my first jobs at 16, 17. No, sorry, it was younger than that. So about 14, 15, youth club supervisor. So I used to go to my play scheme. Because I was one of the older ones, you then have a bit of responsibility where you're looking after the younger ones. And you go, right, okay, Stuart, there's 3 or 4 kids in your group, you look after them. Those are the very early days of me learning about work. And then I could put that down on a piece of paper to say, oh, by the way, during the summer, I helped at the summer scheme and I did this.
Yeah.
That then helped me to get my next job, which was working at McDonald's. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's a perpetuation of all of this. And when you then take away those little services, those institutions, those environments where young people can gain those bits of knowledge, those bits of experience, that's when the perpetuation is. So it isn't just as easy as, you just go and get a job. So I just want to make sure that people know and understand that. And again, if you speak to any young person as well, it is about money. And I'm afraid to say, when young people first start out in thing called life and jobs, you're not earning the kind of money that then shows the lifestyle that some people are having. Because again, it's that Instagram famous, you click your fingers and all of a sudden everyone's dripped with jewelry, the latest clothes, the latest. No one shows anyone the painful journey that you have to go through to get that stuff. That's what Instagram and social media doesn't do. And that's why I try my best, as much as it annoys my wife and other people, that try to keep it real on my Instagram account. It's not polished. It doesn't need to always be polished, because life is not always polished. So
I had a couple of comments just in our viewers. So we had one person saying, "You are speaking the truth. I worked in a school in an inner city London area. We tried to show so many opportunities for our young people. We had artists, musicians, poets. That is what we need to be doing. We need to be showing these young people that there are other avenues that they can explore. But they need to first be given those opportunities. They are children. They're children at the end of the day. And sometimes what one of the comments that someone else has put in is that the system does not want them to be independent. It's turning out people who are dependent. Parents must first develop their child. What we also have to understand is if we're talking about young people that come from a poverty background, sometimes their parents are working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Don't have the time to be able to show their kids the opportunities that they have in life. They're too busy trying to keep a roof over their head.
100%.
So that's why it's so important for the schools and organisations like ourselves and the support teachers and pastoral support staff and all of that in schools. It's so important for us to show them. That's why we get into the jobs like this. This is why people get into youth work.
Yeah.
They want to make a difference, because sometimes, unfortunately, and it's not the parents' fault. It's not the parents' fault. It's a vicious cycle of my mum had to work 3 jobs or my dad had to work 3 jobs to keep a roof over our heads. So I didn't get the support from my parents. So that means I need to go out and try and support my parents financially. But does that mean I'm going to get into something wrong? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%. And this is what I talk to young people, or not to young people, but to adults a lot as well about. It's that generational wealth. This is called generational wealth. If you strip it all back and you take yourself back. So I'm first generation to be born in this country from my family.
Yeah.
I've got friends and I know people who can trace their family heritage back 400 or 500 years.
Yeah.
Like, and that sets you up. And that's the thing about it. And I'm not complaining. It's, oh, but you're moaning. No, I'm not complaining. I'm not a victim out here. I'm making the best of my situation that I've got. But just knowing that one bit of information that someone else, that's the same age as me, that has the same child as me, has been on this country, and they can trace that back 400 to 500 years. So therefore, the little things that you just talk about, and I say to people all the time, there's a realness of life. When what's real for life is for me that I wake up every morning and check my bank balance.
Yeah.
That's a reality of life, right? There you go. Because that's because we both live in a certain world, and we've been conditioned in a certain way where we're always thinking, right, if I got off okay, cool. What else do I need to do? When that's your first forethought of how am I going to put food on my table? How am I going to make sure the bills are paid? How am I going to make sure then, taking Johnny or Jane to that extra class, or, that just becomes an extra thing of like, oh my God, like, okay, cool. I know it's important, but if I can't put the food on the table, then there you go.
I can't take my little Johnny piano lessons, or I can't take my Sandra to violin lessons, or take him to athletics or whatever. They all cost money. They all cost money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, even with my son, I'm not in a situation where I would consider myself to be someone who's part of poverty. I'm very, very blessed and very lucky to have lived the life that I've lived. I mean, I do things, it's me and my partner, it's us together. We do things for our kids and whatever, but we work. We graft, we graft. There's no thing of like, oh, Dad, can you just send me a grand? Do you know what I mean? Because I've got bills to pay. Do you know what I mean? There's none of that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I can't call up my dad and ask him for a grand because I'm late on my rent. Do you know what I mean? Touch wood, I've never been late on my rent. But it's not a situation where I have that luxury of being able to call parents or family members who have got money. And this is where it comes into generational wealth. A lot of their parents, all of these kids that are rich now, their parents, not all of them, please, let me just remind everyone that it's not all of them, but there are a lot of cases of where you've got money because your family's got money and your parents had money. Do you know what I mean? It's not
100%.
None of your ancestors struggled.
Do you know what I mean?
So what possesses you to think that you're going to struggle? So we, unfortunately, as people of the ethnic minority, we were stripped of all of our treasures. We were stripped of all of our luxuries from from hundreds of years ago. It was all stripped from us. Definitely. So we don't have that luxury of having generational wealth because it was taken from us.
100%. And now we're just trying to catch ourselves up and make the best of it. That's what we're trying to do. And we're trying to get back onto some sort of firm footing and move it forward. That's what we're trying to do now. So that's going to take a bit of a while. And also, I'd also say as well, it's the time to be able to think and to plan and to organize.
Yeah.
When you're running at 100 miles an hour
Yeah.
constantly, you then don't be able to really go, right, okay, cool. So, okay, let me just take a breath. Let me just take a moment. Let me just
Yeah.
work out what the best plan of action, because sometimes just being able to do that
Yeah.
is even better than, to know what, anything else that you could do, because then you can go, right, okay, cool. Let me stop. Right, wow. If I go down that road and do that, then the pot, and you can plan it and see it forward a bit. You go, right, let me not do that. Let me rewind it back. Okay, cool. If I went down this way, where you're always just on it, just going,
Yeah.
bam, 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 bam. It's too hard. It's too hard to.
It's stressful, and
Yeah,
this is what is driving people of the ethnic minority into depression,
yeah,
into stress,
yeah,
into suicide. And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen in other races as well, but today our life is about anti-racism,
yeah,
okay? And this is also racism towards white people as well. It's not just targeting saying that, oh, black people, Asian people, whatever. It's racism as a whole, okay?
definitely.
It's to be done with. I don't agree with it. I don't understand it. I don't comprehend it.
Yeah,
But the reason why we're talking about the ethnic minorities today is because we're the ones that have struggled. We're the ones that have dealt with the bad hand for years, for
yeah,
generations and for years. Okay, we are the ones that have dealt with it. So it's now our time. It's now our time to flourish, to be business owners, to be
yeah,
entrepreneurs, to be CEOs, to be doing big things in life. It's now our times.
100%.
We didn't have the luxury of owning slave plantations
Yeah,
and earning money off of slave plantations and going into these different countries and raping women and taking everything from them, taking their crops so that they started. We didn't have the luxury of doing that. And
yeah,
I'm not saying that we're now going to do that back, but we're going to get our back by making sure we have money in our pockets
yeah.
for our kids and our
100%.
grandkids. That's
100%.
what we're going to do. Do you
Definitely.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's why it's so important. I'm so passionate about this. I'm so passionate about it, because I'm like, do you know what? I've got a young black son. My son is black. Yeah,
Yeah,
as much as he's mixed race, he's black. He's got a big afro, and I want him to go out into the world and show it off and be
yeah,
proud of where he comes
100%.
from. Do you get what I'm saying? I want him
Yeah,
to be
100%.
proud of the fact that he's black. I don't want anyone to ever tell him, because of the color of your skin, you are not going to get the same opportunity as Stuart over there.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
you,
definitely.
Stuart, but
No,
different Stuart.
yeah,
You know?
definitely. Yeah, I understand. I
You know
understand.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah, definitely.
I don't want him to feel like that. I don't want him to feel like that at all. And I do believe that we've come so far. We have come so far, and I feel like white people have come so far as well. There's a lot of them. This is what I wanted to say at the beginning, that this is not a chat for us to just start slating white people. My best friend's white.
Yeah,
My best friend's white. She has literally taken on so many different cultures. The way this girl cooks, I cannot believe it. She called me the other day, said, I just made jollof rice. I said, I'm coming round. I ate it. It was delicious. Do you get what I'm saying?
yeah,
It was,
definitely.
because she's so into accepting other cultures.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this is
yeah.
what everyone needs to be doing. Do you
Definitely,
get
definitely.
everyone? No matter
100%.
what, no matter what race you are, it's not even about a thing of people being divided and separated anymore. Everyone needs to just come together and realize we're all human beings, and that's
100%.
it.
100%.
That is
First and
it.
foremost. First and foremost, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. And someone's just said here as well about thinking it's important for those in the black community that's been successful to give back to the community through mentoring, etc. This doesn't always happen. That's
Yeah,
also my point as well. I think as well, we're quick to say about music, sports. You know, those people are famous, and it's not just those people. There's really successful people in business as well. Like you said, there's really for
yeah,
successful politicians and other people as well. It's important for them to turn around, and that's why, again, why I do what I do, is because it's important to inspire others and to
yeah,
show them and to talk to them about your plight
yeah,
and your pathway and the do's and don'ts to try and make their pathway easier. So I think that's really important as well, and that's
yeah,
just not as well. I definitely would say you don't just have to. Everyone can do that as well.
yeah,
It doesn't just have to be someone that needs to be famous or
yeah.
known.
No,
Everyone, you're doing your part by the
everyone.
things that you're doing by going into schools, by showing kids, look,
Yep.
cool, this is what I can do. This is how I'm helping and contributing. So that's important to know as well.
Yep, 100%. And just kind of touching back on what I was saying as well, is it's not a situation, because I feel like a lot of people, especially people of ethnic minorities, they're quite angry. They're still quite angry, and I understand why they are.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not away from why you're angry, okay? You have every single right to be angry about what happened to your ancestors, every single right. But this is now a time of education. This is now a time of inspiring. This is now a time of being putting forward your encouragement, letting people know about your culture, the Black culture, the Asian, like every kind of culture has got something about them that is amazing. It's
100%.
absolutely, whether it's your hairstyles, your hair texture, whether it's the food that you eat, anything that is different should be embraced. Now, I'll be the first person to say there are certain parts of different cultures that I don't like. So I'm mixed race, right?
Yeah.
So my dad's from Pakistan and my mum was half Gambian, half English. Okay,
Wow.
so
Yeah.
we've literally had a mixture of all different races, and I feel like it's just made us become so much more passionate to embracing other cultures because we've got so many cultures in us, right?
Yeah.
But like, there's certain ways that Asian people move that I don't agree with. Okay, there's certain ways that certain Black people move that I don't agree with, and there's certain ways that white people move that I don't agree with. But that does not mean I need to discriminate against someone just because of that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
100%, because it's that, isn't it? It's people are people, and if you view people as people, and sure, I tell people all the time, I'm Marmite. I am.
Yeah.
Some people love me, some people hate me. And the people that love me, cool. I want to be with them people. The
Yeah.
people that hate me, cool. You go over there. I don't need to be with you because, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned, I call them the 3%ers, and we're going to have 3%ers on either side of the extreme. There
Yeah.
is the, and me, I'm in the middle part with the 94% of people having a great time. And that's the
Yeah.
way that I want to view life. And I hope that everyone else, and if one of the people from the 3% want to come down and join the party, cool. But know that
Yeah.
when you're coming down, there is no beef down here. We're not
No,
talking, we're just getting on, finding a way to get on with each other.
that's
And,
it.
and that's what we've got to do in life. Just find a way, because like you said, there's going to be people that you think, oh, I just don't like that about you. Cool. But just saying that, oh, I don't like that, but it doesn't mean you have to hate them. Hate is a very strong word. And the whole
No.
thing about anger, I'd say as well, anger is a great start for something. Don't let it manifest into that bitterness, though, because bitterness is the wrong way to go.
The
Let that
wrong
anger,
thing.
make that anger start something. Make it be like, oh my God, like, okay, cool. I'm let that start you. And then once you get going, forget about that anger. Inform, educate yourself, tell
What we
others.
try and remind young people as well is that it's okay to be angry and frustrated with your history. It's okay to feel that emotion. But what you need to be doing is having that in the forefront of your mind, but not that you want revenge or not carry on bad, right? You want to be using that to drive your passion. Put that into something to say, do you know what? I'm a young Black boy. I'm a young boy, whatever. Yeah, wherever you're from. I'm going to use that and put it into my cello.
Yeah, there you go.
My cello, I'm going to put it into my piano, I'm going to put it into my writing, I'm going to put it into my reading, I'm going to put it into my dance skills, my singing, my rapping. Do you get what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Put it into something constructive. Don't walk out your house and think, oh, do you know what? Your third generations had my great grandfather as a slave, so that means I'm going to come and bore you up. Do you know what I mean? You don't have that kind of mindset, and this is what we need to be encouraging our young people, is that you're not using that anger to get your revenge. What's happened. No one is going to take away from how horrendous it was. Okay, no one is in that, but you need to be doing what you're doing with a positive mindset, with a positive outlook in life.
Definitely.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, 100%. And then a few people have said about being proud. Someone said, I'm proud.
Yeah.
I think it's important to never be ashamed of who you are because society tells you not to be. Yeah, definitely. And we've talked about that already, about it's celebrating difference. That's what we've got to learn, get our young people to learn to understand that difference is great. The world would be extremely boring if we all looked the same and acted the same. So can we find time and place to celebrate and promote and enjoy other people's differences? Because again, that's what makes the world the rich tapestry that it can be. Really is. So yeah. And
All the comments have been amazing today, guys.
Yeah.
This is absolutely love with a live, because this is what we're doing. This is exactly why we do these lives, to be able to hear about our viewers' views as well. Like, we want people to be a part of these lives and express their opinions. And what I want to say is that there will never be bad vibes. There will never be bad energies on these lives. It's a safe haven. We've created a come on here and be completely honest, be completely comfortable with whatever they want to talk about, and that's all we're trying to do. And do you know what it is? The main achievement that we want to get out of this is helping young people the most that we can.
100%.
Not saying adults don't need help as well, but what we do is work with young people, because prevention is better than cure.
Definitely.
We want to make sure young people are going out into life, and we don't want them damaged. We don't want them dealing with trauma and all of these things. We want them to live a good life, a comfortable life, no matter what race they are. Black,
100%.
white, Asian, mixed race, whatever. I don't care where you're from. You deserve a good life. Okay?
100%.
Now, my sister just actually mentioned, just before, we've got about 10 minutes, right? So it was the 1 year anniversary of George Floyd.
Yeah.
So what are your views on that? Because you've experienced first-handedly brother being a victim of a racially it's a hate crime. That's what I'm going to call it.
100%. Yeah.
George Floyd was in the same situation.
Yeah.
What are your views on that? How did you feel when that happened last year?
Definitely. I think Tyrone might be on this live. Tyrone is someone that I just did a piece of filming round, and
we actually went to Tyrone.
Oh, did you? Oh, wow, yeah. That's why he said in the comments about you guys. Okay, so so Tyrone, I just did a film piece with Sky about this, and what we did is we interviewed people to ask that question, like at 1 year on, where we're at, what things are, and I'm a guy of hopefulness. I don't like to be a pessimist too much, and I'm a very big optimist, and I think that things have changed, things have moved on, but I do agree with the sentiment that people said where it isn't obvious anymore. So, you know, I don't have to worry about walking down the street and people saying, "Oh, you black," or, you know, walking around people throwing monkey and bananas at me, those sort of things. Those are not things that are going to happen anymore. It's very obvious and overt. It's more covert, more underground. It's more devious. It's more, you know, sneaky now. That's the type of racism that's out there. And that's where we need to be mindful of. When we see it, we need to call it out. And again as well, I say to people about allyship and difference makers. I prefer the word a difference maker, because I need people to know the whole point about we're talking about today is about being anti-racist, which means if I'm not there and you hear someone say something that's inappropriate, I know for a fact you're going to back it straight away. No questions asked. You're going to go, no, that's wrong. These are the reasons why it's wrong. Why are you saying it? And challenge it. That's what's going to happen. That's what I need people to do. Because otherwise, it's just going to perpetuate the problem and continue it. And something I say to people all the time is there's a couple of words that derive and speak about other cultures. One of them spick. One of them is yid. These type of words are... But those cultures have said, you know what, we are not going to use it. And if we hear anyone else use it, we're going to stamp it out. And I'm a firm believer. One of my big missions that I'm going to start in September is about the N word and how I don't feel like it's appropriately used. No one should use it. I'll tell you a story. We was just going through some re-editing of a magazine, and this gentleman had bought the rights for this comic book. It's called Crisis. It came out in the 1980s. It's like 2000 AD, and it was about a black group of revolutionaries that lived in London who were trying to revolutionize the world. And in one of the scenes, two police officers are looking at the crisis group and they're saying, "Oh, look, there they are, the N words." Now, the gentleman that was re-editing the magazine, he said to me, "Stuart, is it okay for me to allow that word to be still in that magazine?" And I was like, well, yeah, maybe it is. And then I sat and I was thinking, Joe, what? Let me have a little bit of time to think about it. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, if I say yes, allow him to republish that magazine with that word in it, it perpetuates that word of being used. But if I say no, it isn't okay for him to use, and he removes it, no one will ever know it was there.
No. Do you know what the thing is around the N word, right? And this is my personal opinion. Okay. If a word was used to refer to black people in the past in a derogatory term, why on earth are we using it against each other? Now, I also understand from black people's point of view that we're going to take that word and kind of put our spin on it and be like, you lot can't come and chat to us about nothing. You can't call me an N-word, but I can call my brother an N-word. Do you get what I'm saying? There's that whole, I just feel like no one should be using that word.
100%. Me too.
Derogatory term.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
a nice word.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a word to look at you like you're lesser than me. You're
100%.
lower than me.
100%.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
Why are you using that word? Why does it even need to be used? It doesn't. Whenever I hear the words, unless it's in a song or something like that, I don't ever try and use that word, okay?
Yeah.
But if it's in a song, I'm like, do you know what I mean? I don't try to say the words. But if I hear someone say, yeah, well done, Matt, you know, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why can't you just say, hey, you're right?
Yeah.
Well done, my brother.
Yeah.
Why do you
100%.
say that word?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you get what I'm saying? This is what my boyfriend is tuned in, right? And he's literally just said it's dehumanizing because that's the way it was used.
No, it is. It is. And I'll give you a scenario. So my son is 10. I'm driving to football with him, and I'm listening to some songs and from my Spotify playlist. Nines' song comes on, NIC. I'm there bopping away, like, yeah, this is a tune, and chorus comes on, and I'm just in the moment of it all. On the way back home from football, little Lewis is in the car now. We're going home. Song comes on. Theo's going, yeah, Lewis, this is a tune. This is a tune. Come on, sing along. Lewis is a white kid. So how do I explain to Lewis? Yeah, do you know what, Lewis? It's okay for Theo to say it, but you're not allowed to say it. Like, how do you tell two 9-year-olds, two 10-year-olds that one person can say it, but the other person can't? It's confusing messages. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then the second thing I've heard recently as well is that there is a few schools that are black kids who are coming up with the N cards that they're selling to white pupils.
I've seen this. They're giving them the N card to let them use it. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. So I'm as I said, for me, I'm trying my hardest. It's a big battle. It's a big thing for me to take on, but I believe that with time and with insight, with knowledge, that we can really try to get people to have a better understanding why it's inappropriate. It's not right. It's a way of us, stopping ourselves from progressing. It's a blocker. And I tell people all the time, it was a word, NWA. I'm old enough to know NWA, but it was used as an extreme. They didn't say the word. It was an expression, an abbreviation, and it was to shock and awe because people are going to be like, what's NWA stand for? And when they told them, like, oh my God, really? That's what it's for. And somehow, but somehow now it's everyday culture. It's fine. Yeah. It's a greeting. Well, it's a term of reference.
When you listen to music nowadays, especially over the, I don't know, let's say like the last 30 to 40 years with how the music's been in hip hop and rap and all of that. And it's just like, it's second nature. It's like, oh, okay, this is the kind of vocabulary and the language that we need to use in songs to be able to get sales. And it gets them sales. And I'm just like, but you're using a word that if used 300 years ago or less than that, I'm talking about like back in the I'm talking about even up to 60, 70 years ago, right? That word was used to treat you like an animal.
Yeah, definitely.
Was to differentiate you from another race of people.
Definitely.
That word was used to say that you can't use the same toilets as this person.
100%.
You are as low as dogs. Do you get
Definitely.
what I'm saying? Someone also actually messaged earlier, let's not forget about how the Irish were treated as well.
100%.
No Irish, no black, no dogs.
Yeah. And that's why I usually wear my jumper. I usually wear my jumper that says more blacks, more Irish, more dogs. That's why I wear that top. But yeah, it's and this is what I've been reading the book about the Maroons of Jamaica and how it was really okay.
So what I'm going to do is, because this is about to log off in a sec, but we're going to do a part 2. Okay. So I'm literally going to come off of this. Everyone who's like logged in, just stay logged in. I'm going to cross this off, save it, and then start a new live. Yeah. Give me 2 secs, guys.
Okay.